Everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood daydreamer. Yappa. So I'm Yokunai. I don't like that. That's not going to stick. But anyways, hello. It's Nayo and today we're going to talk about my MPC guitar instrument. I call him Dorian because I'm a firm believer in naming your instruments. However, I can't take credit for the creation of Dorian. Let's go back in time. So the year was 2008, and I was in Tokyo, and I was watching a performance by one of my favorite artists, Taiji. Now, for those of you who don't know who Taiji is, he is essentially the godfather of K-pop. In 1992, him and his group Taiji and Boys essentially ushered in K-pop, and the world has never been the same. But, however, in like 96, they broke up. Some of the members of Taiji and Boys, some of the boys, went on to form really big K-pop agencies that you have now. However, I wasn't really interested in them, but I still caught up with Taiji when he came back in like 2000 with his like solo project. I think he released an EP or an album in like 96, but then he really came back in full force in 2000. Now, obviously, I didn't get into Taiji until like 2003, 2004. I was lucky enough to have a friend in high school who was into Taiji and would burn me CDs. Anyways, 2008, Taiji has a new album out, and he is doing the press tour, going on the different shows and stuff. And while I can't remember the name of the album, I do remember the name of the song that changed my world. It was called Bermuda Triangle. And in the video, standard band, nothing too crazy. But in the live performance of Bermuda Triangle, one of the members of his band had a whole new instrument that I'd never seen before. Now, usually Taiji plays with a 5-person band. It'd be himself and vocals, a drummer, a bass player, a guitarist, and an electronicist/keyboardist/synth player. Now, for the live MBS performance of Bermuda Triangle, the synthesizer or synth player or guitar, not guitarist, but the synth player, electronicist, whatever, had this guitar-shaped instrument. So I thought it was a guitar. And it wasn't until upon further watching the video that I had seen that it was actually an MPC 1000 built into a guitar frame. And that blew my mind. I think ever since then, I was on a course to create my own. Fast forward a couple years later, I think like 2011, 2012, I was in Orlando taking care of my dad's passing in his estate and all that stuff. And I got into a guitar center. Now, a guitar center, I'm not sure how it is. I haven't been to one in a decade. But at that point in time, you could buy like used guitars or whatever. Like, secondhand guitars, used guitars. Maybe there's something broken with them, but you could buy it. And I went and I bought a broken guitar essentially for like $100 because I just needed the body. And then I went online and actually no, I think it was still Guitar Center. Actually, I went and I bought an MPD 218 or an MPD 18. Now this was from Akai. Now I couldn't buy an MPC because I just didn't have the engineering skills to break that down and reconstruct it in a guitar. So my workaround was to get a guitar and have somebody cut out the body of the guitar and then basically just put the MPD 18 inside of it. And so I was talking to the staff at the Guitar Center, and they told me that there was a guy who was a guitar tech who happened to work at Universal who would have been super keen to help me with that. So I think I came back like 2 days later, and I spoke to this guy, and him and I got to work on it, and we actually made it happen. Now, I'm going to reveal what Dorian looks like, because I know it's kind of hard to visualize what I'm talking about, but I have to say that a couple of years ago, when I started playing with my former band, Dorian and I had to revamp Dorian, as it were. Akai put out an upgraded model of the pad machine that I was using. So now I have an MPD 18, or actually, I have an MPD 218 inside of Dorian's body. Now the 218 is a little bit smaller than its predecessor, so that's why there's some extra space. But anyways, let's get to it. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So this is Dorian. Yay! This is probably one of my pride and joys. Yeah, as you can see here, it is an Akai MPD 218. So there are 16 pads, and each pad can be a note, it can be a sequence, it can be a sample, it can be whatever you'd like. And then here, if you look close enough, you can see the extra space from where the predecessor was. Now, I have Dorian plugged into my MacBook that I use for shows. Now, there are tons of ways that you can go about putting sounds and samples into your MPD 218s. Everyone has their own way of doing that. For me, I have jimmy rigged this kind of synthesizer, sampler, sequencer, plugin, and GarageBand. And I use that because for me, I have to put in every single sound manually into each pad, but it makes it a bit more intuitive for me for when I'm playing. And I think I'm just a creature of habit, so I like having the same pattern for my instruments and for live performances for many years. I don't like changing it too much unless it's absolutely necessary. Fun fact, back in the day I was obsessed with the singer-songwriter Lights. I was a huge fan of her earlier electronic music. I mean, it's all electronic, but I was a huge fan of her first 2 albums. And she actually signed this on tour when she was in Orlando. Yeah, there it is right there, Lights. So Lights, thank you very much. All these years later, every time I play with Dorian, I get to see your signature, and I'm inspired to be half as cool as you are. Now, let me show you how this works. I know you're probably wondering, but Nayo, what does it do? How does it make music? How does it sound? Well, good question. Let me show you. So first things first, let me stand up. Oh my goodness, I look like the milkman's son. All right, now I wear my strap pretty low because I'm still influenced by like Korn and all that stuff. Are you ready? So, I like to have my guitar kind of, I guess maybe belt level, if that makes sense. Let's go ahead and plug this in. Okay, a little bit lower than belt level, but I quite have long dangly arms, so I like having Dorian around here. Now, it might cut off my head, my apologies, but let me go ahead and push one button for you. Now, for those of you who might be familiar with my music, hopefully that's everybody. Alright, I'm gonna be playing some of the sequences that I play whenever I play Treehouse live. So, first things first, you can put sounds wherever you'd like. It's your own personal preference. For me, I always use the bottom 2 rows as my main rows. I usually have the chorus parts here, maybe the verse parts here, the bridge parts here, extra parts here, and then I kind of just leave this blank in case like my hand hits it or something I don't want to go off. But let me go ahead and show you what I have for Treehouse. Let's go through the pads together. The first pad is the main guitar riff or melody throughout the song. Now for me, what I usually do is I have the same part, I usually double up, so it'll be on pads 1 and 2 that go with each other. Some songs, I will maybe chop up the melodies or chop up the sequences into finer parts so I can play it a bit more. But for some of the songs, depending on how I envision moving around whilst I'm playing, I might just have the whole sample itself playing, or the whole melody itself playing, and I just repeat it, or I just loop it manually. Because at the same time, essentially, while I do use Dorian for writing some songs, Dorian is mostly a performance enhancement.
Pause. You know what I'm saying?
Instrument. So it's just something for me to do that's fun on stage, and hopefully something that is fun for the audience to see. So let's go ahead and do, once again, a walkthrough. So here we go. There's the first part right there, right? Second part, exact same melody, exact same sequence. Alright, so that's usually the chorus slash I can't remember. I think that's the chorus. Yeah, that's the chorus for Treehouse. Now let's go ahead into the verse part, the verse sequence. Now usually I will have these three pads. This helps me to have the same parts here. So for example, so if I want to play this way, that's fine. But if I also want to play this way and that way, that's fine too. For example, once again, the name of the game is just being fun. Like, I just wanted to have fun whilst I'm playing music. So for me, I don't necessarily go super deep into dividing up each and every note and then rewriting it on stage. Now, when I do write music with this, sometimes I'll do that. Some songs I might have more note-based breakdowns, but usually I just have the sequence and I just loop it on stage so I can have fun. Now, last part is probably my favorite part of the song. This is the pre-chorus in between the verse and the chorus. And wouldn't you know, So once again, I can just loop it back and forth. Now, let me go ahead and show you a quick demonstration of what I'm talking about. What does this look like in action? All right. Now, also here's my MacBook right here. Now, usually what happens is I will have it in GarageBand. Now, I probably need to find a more efficient way of playing this because it can be kind of hard to go in between songs because I have to manually go in and select the new song, or the following song. But I tend to have one track here that has my sampler on it and you can't really see anything. And then I have all the other breakdowns of the different sequences here. And then I might have the backing track here without the parts I'm playing so I can practice with. So let me show you maybe the first minute or so of Free House. And that's basically it. It's actually a lot of fun to play live, and that's why I made it. For me, music is all about expressing myself and having fun. Now, I know that there might be some guitar purists out there who think this is an abomination.
An abomination!
And I assure you guys, I'm not trying to take the piss out of the guitar. I play guitar when I'm writing music and all that stuff, but I just have so many different sounds and sequences that in the live version, it would be quite hard to recreate all the different plugins with all the different sounds. So for me, this is just a way to have fun on stage and, I don't know, try to make my own electronic shows a bit more fun. I love DJing, but for me, I don't know, I just want to be more kinetic on stage. So yeah, so that is Dorian. That's my MPC guitar modification, whatever you want to call it. I think right now there's only two in the world. There's mine, Dorian, and there's Sugar. I used to play in a band called The Ocean and I, and the synth player in the band, Nina, her and I had made one for her, and hers is called Sugar, and it's cute, it's pink, it's a little bit heavier than mine. But yeah, so I think as far as I know, there are two of these in the world. But what about you? I would like to hear about your different MPC instruments or your different guitar mods, things of that nature. What kind of custom electronic music instruments do you have? Or what would you like to make? All right, so please leave a comment below this video. In fact, if you like this video, please comment and hit the like button and subscribe. All right, see you next time. Thank you.